Under the Senate bill that was passed yesterday, women under 18, or women turning 18 on or after January 1, 2018, would be forced to register for Selective Service. John McCain, chairman of the Armed Service Committee, said, quote, "The fact is, every single leader in this country, both men and women, members of the military leadership, believe that it's fair, since we opened up all aspects of the military to women, that they would also be registering for selective services." You know, I could never figure out selective service. What the hell? Back in the day, they didn't select shit. They just took you. Selective? No, not when you're involved in committing the kind of war crimes we committed in Southeast Asia. Selective my ass. It was sign here, off you go, boy. Anyway, back in 1981, if you'll remember, I'm sure you do, the Supreme Court ruled that women did not have to register for the draft because they did not participate in combat. But if you remember back in December when our Defense Secretary Ash Carter said that the Pentagon was going to go ahead and open up all combat jobs to women, let me ask you something. Now, I realize a couple of women just completed SEAL training or whatever it was. Just proud as hell, weren't they? I bet they got ragged by the boys in the SEALs school. Was it SEALs? Let's just pretend it was SEALs if it wasn't. I'm sure they got ragged on and made fun of. But these two women said, "Fuck you," and just went through it, man. But that's two people. But what are you going to do when a female soldier, Marine, airman, airwoman, what are you going to do in the new kind of combat? Now, I realized during World War II there were some atrocities committed by our side and the Japanese side that defies description. Some really evil shit occurred on both sides. I mean, really bad. You can read about it if you want to. So it's not a new, and besides, if you go back to Exodus and some of the shit I was talking about earlier, you can find all kinds of horror where it involves combat of one sort or another. But having stipulated that, can you imagine what will happen in the year 2019 when 4 or 5 women soldiers are captured by, I don't know, who will we be fighting in 2019? Probably ISIS. And they're captured, and then one at a time they're beheaded, women. Now, I realize that, you know, I'm a feminist. Ever since I read The Female Eunuch, Germaine Greer, way back, I'm a feminist. But isn't there something almost fucking unspeakable about watching a woman being beheaded? Or maybe not. Why aren't we working? Who was it that talked about a Department of Peace? Was that Kucinich when he ran for president? Yeah. Secretary of Peace. Remember how he was mocked? Peace? Yeah, you pussy. Peace? You can't make any money on peace. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, and the father of 2 young girls, said on the Senate floor, quote, "The idea that we should forcibly conscript young girls in combat, to my mind, makes little sense at all. I could not in good conscience, vote to draft our daughters into the military, sending them off to war and forcing them into combat. Well, what about the boys, Cruz, you fuckwad? What about the males? But still, can you imagine Ted Cruz's daughter, Sergeant Cruz, with the video cameras running, and all sorts of screams in Arabic as their heads came off? I would imagine by that time, though, we're gonna go back to doing some head cutting ourselves, right? Don't you think? Takes one to know one, right? The sauce for the goose is, you know. So I would imagine that as this war on terror continues and metastasizes and becomes more and more foul and rotten and gangrenous at the core, as this continues and there are more mass attacks and slaughters in the United States, that we're going to reach a point where we're going to say, you know, fuck this. Fuck this. And we're going to send people into the Middle East whose sole purpose is to go over there and really do some shit. I mean some real shit. No more rules of engagement. If it moves, fucking kill it. Free fire zone, that's going to be quaint compared to what's going to happen by the year 2019. Wouldn't you think? I know a lot of combat veterans listen to this program. We have a bunch in the chat room. And I think that they would agree that we're just about out of patience with this shit, right? And we can't go dropping nukes because, well, you know, there's that. So what are we going to do when we finally have had the shits of this? It's going to be tit for tat. That's what it's going to be. You cut off our people's head, we'll cut off their heads and their feet and their nuts. How do you like that? That's been done. This is madness. You understand that. This is madness. Jesus, God. Women into the draft. Yeah.